and introduce to you the 34th head coach of the Iowa State Cyclones, Jimmy Rogers.
The Jimmy Rogers era is officially underway here at Iowa State. My biggest takeaways from his introductory press conference coming up after a word from Fareway.
My game plan? Get the best without the fuss. That's why I love Fareway. Everything I need, easy to find, and a hometown atmosphere that just hits different. Fareway, your home court advantage.
I'm here at the Stark Performance Center as Jimmy Rogers just wrapped up his first press conference as the head coach of Iowa State football. We're just treating this report as the Daily Clone here on a Monday. Thank you to Fareway Meat and Grocery for providing that. I've got a lot of thoughts from Rogers' first day on the job, but let's just say he won the press conference, which is an important start. My biggest takeaways from Rogers on the podium: intense, genuine, doesn't smile a lot, but he joked that he is a happy person. He just was born with RBF. You know what that means. And in that, you kind of got to see the type of person that is behind the defensive-minded head coach. He's extremely grateful for his journey to Iowa State, from South Dakota State to Washington State for a year. He talked about the relationship that he has with his mentor and coach at South Dakota State, John Stiegelmeier, and he showed that relationship building side of him that he'll bring to Ames. That's already been on full display as he had the initial team meeting with the remaining players last night. Here's what Rogers said.
Meeting in the middle of what I understand that they're going through. I just came from a very similar situation, and I was kind of somewhat forced to not forced, but at the same time, like, I made this decision. The timing isn't always the best right now in college football, and the players are going through a hard time, you know? And I said to them, if you didn't feel this way, it wasn't done right. And the fact that it feels this way and that you feel the pain, the hurt, it's a credit to Coach Campbell that there's this feeling inside of you of, man, what do I do? And kind of feel shook. I think that that's a great sign of great coaching as far as how they were loved and treated inside of this program, but they're not going to be treated much different. We're cut from the same cloth. I've admired his career and how he's done it and how he stayed consistent and the values in which he preached, and these players live it. And it won't be that much different. I watched how he grew his program with the consistency of keeping those close to him and elevating them in their life. You can see that in those coaches' loyalty to him. It's a credit to who he is as a person. And although we get bashed for the decisions that we made, I bet you that might be the first decision that he's made for himself in a very long time. And so he's deserved it. We'll work through this together. It's our relationship. But my message to the team was just give us an opportunity to meet our staff. And so some of our defensive coaches that are coming with, they will be here today. And they'll have an opportunity to kind of see what the future of what Iowa State football will be from the leadership of who the position coaches will be, who the coordinators will be here shortly. I need to do that and get those get our coaches in front of these guys so that they can start to build what is a relationship that will last for the next maybe 3 to 4 to 5 years of their career.
You mentioned schematics. These football players want to know the type of football they'll be playing. Rogers said that a four-man front is coming back to Ames.
Yeah, I would say defensively, one that's multiple, that will use disguises and be more attacking. A really fundamentally sound defense that has had really great success over the last 7 years. We're a four-man structure, but we can get into an odd front up front and get into what we consider a spinner package using a very athletic longer DN to kind of play as a hybrid linebacker in the system. One that has different rules to make it hard and challenging, whether it's zone or man. And then offensively, one that is also multiple, using many personnels, being physical up front, and having a belief, no matter what the circumstances in the game, that will apply the proper technique and strike people and run off the football in the run game and be able to be extremely explosive. Special teams, I believe in that being an explosive unit for us, one that has a level of consistency throughout the game, that eliminates error but maximizes its opportunity to make big plays in that game. They only get so many of them, so they got to be polished and they got to be explosive when you get those opportunities.
Rodgers spent 1 year at Washington State needing to replace 70 new players. He pulled that off with his relationship building. After taking Wazoo from essentially nothing to 6-6, he learned a lot about himself.
Well, it's a lot of work. It's level of consistency. Getting to know players all in that short amount of time is extremely difficult, but trying to be honest. I've always been honest with the players. I tell them exactly where they sit. I didn't promise them playing time. We pushed them. I told them the truth. They don't always want to hear the truth, but they got it from us. And our staff did a great job of really giving their best to them and to try to get that many players ready that fast in a new scheme and new technically. So there was a lot of work that was put into just last year, and we know how to do it now. I know little things to make it better than how we did it, and I'm excited to do it with this group because every time that you do something right, there's an opportunity to grow from it. And having just done this, it was a great opportunity to kind of learn and understand the steps. If I were to do this from South Dakota State, there would be some hiccups along the way. It would be my first time moving away. Having just done it with that many players, outside of maybe Dion, I don't know how many people have flipped the roster of 75 people and had success. And I don't even think he made a bowl game. And it's not no knock. I just know how hard it is.
After the press conference, we talked to athletic director Jamie Pollard on the side for about 15 minutes about all things revenue sharing and how that process works. One of the things that he clarified is that each coach gets their budget that's allocated. Football gets $13 million, men's basketball $5 million, et cetera, et cetera. And once Coach Rodgers, once Coach Otzelberger gets that money, it's theirs to do what they want with it. Pollard has no say in what an individual player makes. Pollard was very, very adamant about clearing that up. And he mentioned how Rodgers gets a $13 million budget to build his roster. That's $11 million more than he had at Washington State last year. Pollard is super excited to see what Rodgers can do with that increased budget.
And he took Ole Miss, who's in the playoff. He took James Madison, who's in the playoff, and Virginia, who was going to be in the playoff, to a one-score game in the fourth quarter on the road, right? With a payroll of $2.5 million. He's ecstatic that he gets a payroll of $13 million, right? So again, it's perspective, because if you want to play for the Dodgers or the Yankees, then you're going to have unlimited, because you're going to go above the salary cap. You're going to pay you have the luxury to do that. When you're the Milwaukee Brewers, you don't, right? And so he's looking at like, wow, this is going to be awesome. If I can do what I did with what I had, you're giving me $11 million more than what I had. So life's perspective.
I highly recommend checking out that entire 15-minute interview with Pollard as he talks about all things revenue sharing currently and what the future could possibly hold for it. We just have so much content right now. Cyclone Fanatic on YouTube, about an hour just from the press conference. Between that, a sidebar with Coach Rodgers, the sidebar with Pollard, there is so much that you don't want to miss. Go to Cyclone Fanatic. Be sure to like, subscribe so it shows up in your feeds and you can see all that we're covering as a new era of Iowa State football starts. Coach Rodgers is 1-0 after winning his initial press conference. This has been Jake Brend with the Daily Clone here in the Northwest Bank Studios.